My takeaways from the Bills vs. Lions preseason game. Let's Talk Lions. Welcome back to an all-new episode here at Let's Talk Lions. My name is Jay. I just wanted to take a few minutes and go over some of the biggest takeaways that I saw from the Lions-Bills game, specifically about the Lions, some of our players, some of our position groups, and just take a few minutes, break it down, and lay it out for you. Before we get started in this video, I do want to let you know this Saturday, 7 p.m., I'm going to be hosting a live watch party for the Lions-Steelers preseason game. So the game's at 7:30. I'm going to start the stream at 7 o'clock. Jump on in, chat it up with me, watch the game from your place. I'll watch it here. We'll have conversation about what we're seeing and just really watch the game together. I think it'll be a good time. So join me 7 o'clock this Saturday, August 21st. Now, without any further ado, let's talk about what we saw on Friday against the Bills. We have to talk about Goff. He is the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega for this 2021 year. In the offseason, we rolled into LA like the others from the season 1 finale of Lost, demanding that Michael, Jin, and Sawyer hand over Walt. Walt is their very own Jared Goff. We just said we're going to have to take the boy.
Only the thing is, we're going to have to take the boy.
What? What'd you say?
The boy. We're going to have to take him.
Hey, what the hell's going on here?
We obviously hand over Matt Stafford. We bring in Jared Goff. There is so much riding on this for Jared Goff's career. What does this year look like? So let's break it down. Goff went 7 for 9 with a total of 56 yards. That first passing play of his was almost picked off. My eyes bugged out of my head and I was like, oh no, no. However, Goff looked exactly how Goff looks in general. Like, very consistent short yardage passing plays. He looks good. He could throw an accurate ball, short yardage. It's just what Goff does, and that's kind of what we saw. Like, watching him, I was like, I'm not really seeing any glimmers of like, oh my God, like you have increased, you have elevated your game, but I really didn't see anything that I was like, oh, you're a little shaky. I don't like that. He just looked like Goff. It's his consistency in short yardage passing plays. They're accurate passes. They work. All in all, Goff looked like Goff. That's about all I got for you on him. The deep ball isn't his bread and butter, because in fact, his bread and butter is bread and butter. All in all, watching this game, there's so much more that I want to see from Goff. And I think that's just the type of thing that we're going to see develop over the course of time, over the course of these next few preseason games, going into the first game of the year. But really, watching Goff, there's nothing to write home about, but there's also nothing to be really afraid about. He's Jared Goff, and he proved that by what he did. Now, looking at the other QBs on the roster, you know that I was amped about Tim Boyle. He is like the guy that I'm really excited as our backup QB. However, I'm going to be honest, he did not perform well in this game against Buffalo. In fact, he performed kind of poorly, in my opinion. Boyle went 8 for 15 with 38 yards. There were a few passes that were pretty nice. He piped one in there down low. I believe it was either to Kennedy or Bolden. It was Bolden, and Bolden fell to the ground. It just kind of like squibbed out of his arms. And, you know, that was like a type of throw where I'm looking at him and he was able to lace it in there. Accurate, hard. There was a lot of velocity on it. However, in the end, it was really Blau who surprised me the most. He came in going 5 for 6 with 76 yards. Looks to me like competition for QB2 just got a little bit better. Now let's move on to the running backs. DeAndre Swift did not play. Huge bummer. Wanted to see him get out there, kind of get in his groove. But you know what? You look at Buffalo's side. They didn't have Cole Beasley playing. They didn't have Josh Allen playing. They didn't have Stephon Diggs. Right? Like, there were certain starters that we needed to get in there, and DeAndre Swift, I don't know if it was the groin still being tight, kind of keeping him off to the side, but also TJ Hawkinson did not play. Brashad Perriman did not play. We did have a few starters, Michael Brockers, that did not play, and DeAndre Swift was one of them. Therefore, we saw Jamal Williams take the majority of the reps in that first quarter. He was out there again and again and again, trying to see if he could sustain a drive, trying to really see if he could move that ball forward. Williams did get shut down a few too many times. He had 9 attempts for 15 yards, so you're looking at like 1.5 yards a carry. His longest run was for 5 yards. Williams is not our RB1. We did get to watch him as if he was, but really he's going to be working in tandem with Swift. The Bills' defense is stout, but I don't think it's anything to worry about in this preseason game. It was just good to see them taking these reps. However, I was looking forward to Jamar Jefferson, really seeing what he would be able to do. Jefferson had 4 attempts for 7 yards. So 1.8 yards a carry. Jamar Jefferson did not impress by any means. It was, in fact, Craig Reynolds at the running back position who really impressed. I'm talking, I see number 46 running there, and I'm like, who is this guy? Couldn't even identify him. He starts making moves. He had 6 attempts. He ran for 49 yards. That's 8.2 yards a carry, and he put up a TD. Craig Reynolds came out and blew me out of the water. In fact, I really think he blew a lot of people out of the water by his performance. Kind of given a scare for that RB3 position. I don't know if he'll get it. I could really see him as a practice squad guy. We will see as the development continues in this preseason, the preseason games against Pittsburgh, Indy, practice, training camp, roster cuts. But Craig Reynolds did surprise me in a great way. Moving on to the wide receivers, first and foremost, Amon-Ra St. Brown. What a snag Detroit got by picking this guy up. Amon-Ra St. Brown's attitude first and foremost, but really watching him play. St. Brown had 2 catches for 12 yards. There was that one beautiful play that he makes. However, it gets pulled back. There was a penalty. I believe it was on Ragnow. I may be wrong, but I do believe it was on Ragnow. It was a holding. Therefore, the play had to come back. But watching him work was a thing of beauty and is so much excitement going into the future. His route running was on a dime. There was that beautiful in route that he runs against number 33 on Buffalo, juking him out of his own shoes. Amon-Ra St. Brown making the play. It was absolutely beautiful. I think we have a stud in St. Brown. One other wide receiver who impressed me was Tom Kennedy, and he has been lingering around like a rock in your shoe. You're like, could you just get this hitchhiker out of here? Kennedy said, nah. I'm watching plays where number 85 keeps popping up, and I'm like, who is 85 again? And there it is, Kennedy. He went 4 for 6 with 46 yards, so you're looking at about 11.5 yards per reception. His longest being 29 yards. My guy shone bright like the Arkenstone.
To give you this.
Heart of the mountain, the king's jewel.
The last bit on offense that I want to look at is Penei Sewell, our number 1 draft pick this year. Something to remember going into this game is Sewell hasn't suited up in 2 years, basically. And so with that being said, you could see the rust at full speed and the fact that he is no longer playing the left tackle position, but the right tackle position. It's very different. And yes, he's had time this training camp to prepare, but my God, when you go up against a guy like Gregory Rousseau is a stud. And so watching Rousseau match up against Sewell was very eye-opening. Rousseau came in hard and fast against Sewell, and right in the beginning, the first few matchups, you could tell that there was rust on Sewell. There was rust that needed to be shaken off. Shaken? Shooketed. There was rust that needed to be released off of Sewell, and Rousseau really, quite frankly, did a lot of that for him, because as the plays progressed, as the snaps progressed, you did see Sewell finally sort of start to set into himself, and you watched that violence kind of come back out of him. It is very interesting. Guy hasn't played in 2 years, so what do you expect? I didn't expect him to get out there and be God mode on the first 5 snaps. The first 3 were a little bit shaky. However, that is a growing pain. It's a growing pain after not playing for 2 years and for being shifted to the right side of the O-line. Sewell quickly regained his composure. He was able to set into himself. His athleticism spoke for itself. Sewell really is the real deal, and I'm very excited about him. I've seen people kind of, ripping him up a little bit regarding the 1 sack, but I don't really think the sack was his fault. I really don't. I think it was Big V's fault. And quite frankly, yes, there was. You see Rousseau get past him. I believe you see Rousseau get past him in the end. However, that's not where the sack came from. Didn't look good for him. However, it was not his fault. All right, let's shift over to the defense. We looked rough against the run in the first quarter. Devin Singletary, running back for the Bills. He's their number 1 running back. I was hoping to really see our linebackers make some plays here. Gotta say, the acquisition of Alex Anzalone was great. His instincts are there. His mind is there. He's really good at just watching the play unfold and being able to move accordingly. And we saw that in this preseason game. What was frustrating, though, was the amount of missed tackles we had coming up against their running back, coming up against them in the middle. That was incredibly frustrating, and it was flashbacks to this last year under Matt Patricia, the last 3 years under Matt Patricia. I do have to say, one area that I am not thrilled about is Tavai. Look, I'm getting too many flashbacks to the last year and watching him under Patricia. And so much of this offseason was he shed his weight, he looks good, he's getting back to the athleticism that we need him to be. And quite frankly, I didn't see that. I just saw Tavai looking a lot like last year's play. And that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. You got to be able to perform. You got to be able to make those tackles. And he just didn't look good. He doesn't look like what we need him to be come the regular season. So I do fear for Tavai. He's a guy that I just think he's not going to be a starter if he continues to perform like he did, because it looked like last year. Moving on, we have the Okwaras. I got nothing to say about Romeo Okwara other than he's phenomenal, and I'm really glad that we gave him the extension, that we gave him the contract, because he is going to be pivotal for this defense for a long time to come. It's his younger brother, Julian, that I want to talk about. Picked up Julian last year. He was one of our draft picks. We didn't see Julian much last year in the regular season due to injuries, being a newbie. However, it was really great to watch him in this preseason game. We saw a lot out of Julian Okwara, specifically as a pass rusher. He took place in 28 pass rushing plays. In those, he put on a total of 8 pressures, and he came down with that 1 sack, and it was a beauty, like the Black Stallion. All in all, I like what I see coming out of Julian. He is really trying to solidify a spot for himself here, and if he continues to do what he did against Buffalo, hey, you're going to find it, man. Moving on, we have Derek Barnes. My God, I am glad that we drafted him. I like what I saw from Derek Barnes, right? There's that one play where the tight end for the Bills actually runs out to the sideline, and he instinctively picks it up, makes his way over, shuts him down, not even letting him get a yard. Those were the type of things that we missed a ton last year. Our instincts were just kind of terrible. I think there was so much miscommunication that our guys couldn't really figure out who was supposed to be where, covering what, and we saw those types of plays work to our disadvantage often. So watching Derek Barnes be able to pick up that tight end instinctively and take him down was awesome. These are the plays, these are the things that I want to see from our defense. I just want to see that mindset that is in the game. His awareness of his surroundings is there, and I love that. That's what I want to see from this defense, specifically our linebacking core, because God, did we not have that. I'm thinking of Jared Davis. Next, let's look at the cornerbacks. You've got Okudah and Oruwariye, both those guys starting. We all knew that was happening. And Mike Ford actually starting as nickel due to the leaving or the tossing out of Quentin Dunbar like a game of hot potato. And I'm not going to lie to you. I love a good game of hot potato. When hanging out with friends and like, oh, do you want to, let's play Settlers of Catan? And I'm like, listen, I'm just sitting there thinking, let's just play hot potato. A good competitive game of hot potato is just, oh, it's so fun. There's this exhilaration. And if you're sitting there and you're like, what? Just try it sometime. Just play with your friends. Just say, hey, who wants to play hot potato? And you're going to get a lot of weird looks, in which case, just pull out Hungry Hippos, and that will negate it all. Lastly, without getting too deep into the weeds, is our special teams. And let me tell you, our special teams was the best position group of 2020. And so far, they're the best position group of 2021. They looked great. Jack Fox, Pro Bowl punter, and he deserves it. Seeing him get out there and bam, a 66-yard punt. I love that dude. So with all this being said, our eyes have been opened like the intro to Lost. The grand takeaway is this: there's a ton of work to do, and that's okay. That's what 2021 is all about for the Detroit Lions. It's greasing up these gears. It's getting these guys working together under a new coaching staff, really feeling it out, figuring each other out, and start solidifying what this team is going to be like in the future, 2022, 2023. This year is all about that development and being able to see these guys out on the field, perform, really come together as a squad for the future. That's what this is about. The Bills are just a great team. Watching their backups play, I was like, man, you guys are loaded. We got a quick glimpse at Jared Goff. We need more out of him. We're going to need a lot more out of him. We got to see Jamal Williams. We got to see some of our wide receivers. Getting to see the defense not look too terrible. The run block was bad. It's something that we're going to have to really adjust. The middle linebackers, we need more out of them. However, all in all, it was great to see the guys get out there, moving at full speed, really seeing what they can do as a squad. And there's only room to improve for the Detroit Lions in 2021. But alas, this was the first test under Dan Campbell and co. And I had a blast watching it. Again, join me Saturday, August 21st, 7 p.m. We're going to live stream the upcoming Pittsburgh Lions game, a live watch party here on Let's Talk Lions. So I will continue to keep you updated as cuts start happening, give a little preview of that game. Thank you everybody for being here, for sticking around, for liking this video, for being a part of the community by subscribing. You guys are the best. I really appreciate all that you're doing for me here at this channel. So until next time, I'll catch you later on Let's Talk Lions.